Hey everyone, welcome back. And today I'm going to be doing what if Ireland decides to form an empire? So, with Ireland already bordering one country, and that's the UK, they have some struggle invading them. So, what they decide to do is that they decide to fund some separatist movements, which is in Scotland and Wales and in Northern Ireland. So, with the Northern Ireland already getting its independence, Ireland just automatically annexes them. So with this, we see that Ireland no longer borders the UK. So with this, they see the weakened UK and they decide to declare war on Wales. So with England and Scotland very weak to join the war, they decide to stay out of it. So they decide to start taking this as the advantage and then quickly move into Wales. And soon Wales falls. So let's look at. So here's the peace treaty. We see that Wales has been fully annexed by Ireland, and then what they decide to do is that they decide to go after England. England is a little bit harder to invade, but they are able to just storm in there since they are very weak after their war. So they're able to cut this part of England off, splitting them into two, and then soon splitting them into three. So then with this, England is extremely weak, so this part falls over to the Irish. This part falls over to the Irish, and then they decide that they go in a all-out invasion of London. So then, eventually, London falls. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see that England has been fully annexed. So what they decide to do is that they would want to go after Scotland, but Scotland is extremely weak, so they just opt to just be annexed. So with that, they see Scotland fully surrenders over to the Irish, and then soon the British Isles is now fully under Irish control. And then soon they decided to go and look over to the mainland Europe. And then they decided to go over to the Benelux. Soon they declare war on Netherlands, which brought Luxembourg and Belgium into the war. So with World War One and World War Two, with the UK struggling to make a landing into the mainland, but then eventually they were able to land in there. We see that Ireland is also struggling to land into Europe, but eventually, after a few battles, we see that they finally start their invasion, soon automatically threatening Amsterdam, and then another one into Belgium, and then soon they already capture Brussels, and then Belgium surrenders. And then with that, Luxembourg falls. And then with Netherlands having to fight a two-front war, yeah, they already surrender. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here we see the full annexation of the Benelux, and then here we see just like it'll be very hard to invade France, and it'll be hard to invade Germany because with the population combined with Ireland, the UK, and the Benelux, they have a 30.15 million, while France has a 68.6 million. So with this, I decided to include nukes one time. So with Ireland, with the UK having nukes, they were about to disable it before they got invaded, but that failed. So Ireland now has nukes. So with this, they launched a nuke over to Paris and over to some major cities into France. And then soon, that made France enter the war with some radiation going on, which it killed like almost half of their population. And then with this, they start their invasion into the Benelux. So with this, Yeah, Belgium and Luxembourg is already liberated by France. But here we see that because of the nukes, we there's any barely any people in the coast. I think the radiation is like, let's just say that it's over here. A lot of the radiation because of this one nuke. So because of that, the Irish managed to put on some gas masks and then start their own invasion into France. One in the southern part and one in the westmost, or mostly west invasion. And soon, without the French even knowing, they start connecting up, and then soon they all going into a very big invasion. And then soon they're already threatening Paris with one spearhead going through. So, with the French already coming back, well, trying to come back, we see that the Irish are able to liberate their part, and then soon their own invasion into France. And then with this, they manage to encircle the city, and then soon Paris falls. And then with that, France surrenders. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see that the northern part of France, including Paris, has been fully annexed, while the southern part of France has been turned into a puppet state as a buffer zone between them, Spain, and Italy. And also that Corsica has been turned into a puppet state, because why not? So with this, they decide to look over to Germany, then send them an ultimatum, asking for their entire territory, and then they refuse. So then with this, the Irish should declare war on them. And then, as the Germans did in World War One and World War Two, they tried to invade the Benelux to surround them into France, but that failed because there is protection all over the Benelux, including this part of Germany. So then with this, they start to moving their defenses into Germany. And then soon, with some separatist movements already happening in Germany with one part, and that is Bavaria. So with Bavaria now declaring its independence from Germany, we see that Bavaria and Ireland is able to connect up, making this part fall over to the Irish. And then soon, we see that the economic capital of Germany, Frankfurt, has been captured. So then with this, we see that Germany is already economically weakened, making people leave the war because they don't have enough funds for themselves. So then with this, we see Germany now fully surrendering. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see that Germany has been fully annexed by the Irish. So with this, they send an ultimatum over to Denmark, asking or demanding for their entire territory. And then, as they would already get destroyed, they decide to accept the ultimatum, and then they get annexed. And then with this, they see that they have some weaker countries over here, like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, Austria, Hungary, Slovenia. So they also send them an ultimatum. And then with this, Austria, Czechia, Slovakia accept the ultimatum, leading them to their annexation. But with Hungary and Slovenia denying this request, they declare war on both of them. And then soon, Slovenia already surrenders, and then soon, they get fully annexed. And then, we see Hungary just being alone. So then eventually, they also surrender with the capture of Budapest. And then with this, they automatically get annexed by the Irish. So then with this, they look over to Switzerland, and then they also demand their full annexation. With Switzerland denying this request, they decide to declare war on the Swiss. And let's just throw in Liechtenstein in there. So Italy sees this and sees that they could be a threat next, so they declare war on the Irish. So, with the Italians already helping out with the Swiss, they managed to get through the Alps and then soon into Slovenia and then going all out, but then eventually they are pushed back and then they start their own invasion, soon capturing the Swiss capital, and then they do their full invasion into Liechtenstein and the rest of Switzerland. So then, with this, they managed to pull back all of their troops out of the new Irish territory to protect this new front. So then with this, we see that they already capture cities like Milan and then Venice, and then soon they're already threatening Rome. And then we also see that San Marino has been captured, and then Rome, along with the Vatican City, is also captured. And then with this, they already capture Sardinia and Sicily, making Italy surrender. So let's look at the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty. We see that Switzerland and Italy, I mean the mainland of Italy, has been annexed, while Italy still exists with Sardinia and Sicily. But let's just say that they decide to break apart, making Sardinia and Sicily now into two independent nations. And we also see that the buffer zone between them and Spain and what was Italy is now annexed by the Irish, because then they declare war on Spain. And then with Portugal seeing this, they decided to work together with Spain. And then Portugal also declared war on the Irish. And then they decided that this is the best way to safeguard their entire area. So with them having the Iberian Peninsula, they could focus all into the rest of Europe. So they started their invasion through the mountains. Soon Andorra got fully invaded, and then with this we see that they also storm into the northern part of Spain, soon capturing their northern coast, and then going into Portugal. And then with the Irish also going to their southern, we also see major cities being captured, and then this island got captured. And then we see now that the Irish is now threatening Madrid, and then Portugal is already getting invaded. Soon Lisbon falls, making a Portugal surrender. And then we see that like Malaga, Sevilla, and Gibraltar has been invaded. And then eventually they're fully surrounded, and then they go all out, making Spain fully surrender. So let's look at the peace treaty. So we see the full annexation of the Iberian Peninsula, as well as these islands, because why not add some more islands, including the ones from Britain? So with this, we also see that they send another ultimatum over to Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Poland, asking for a little bit of their territory, but then foolishly, they refuse the ultimatum, and then soon, Ireland declares war on the three of them. Serbia sees this as a threat, so they declare war on Ireland, making Kosovo gaining its full independence because they don't want to fight the Irish. So they also declare war on Kosovo, making Albania join. And then soon, we see that Romania declared war on Serbia and Bulgaria. We also see that Montenegro, North Macedonia, and Greece declared a war on them. So at this point, it's just a whole entire Balkan war. And then eventually, yeah, already we see these countries already collapsing because they're fully surrounded. If I could even get it. So with the Kosovo already collapsing, that makes Albania already collapse too. But long story short, yeah, they already fall. And then soon, Albania and Kosovo are liberated, And then over here into Poland, with the troops now focused, Poland's already gone. So I guess with this, let's look at the peace treaty. So here we see the full annexation of Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro, Albania, Kosovo, North Macedonia, and Serbia. I mean, North, I mean, or. Okay, so Albania and Kosovo were going to be independent, but since they got destroyed, they are now fully annexed for economic aid. And then we see that nothing happened to Romania, nothing to Bulgaria. Greece has been turned to a puppet state. Nothing happened to Turkey as they didn't enter the war. And then over here with Poland, we see the west half of Poland being fully annexed, while the eastern part is being turned into a puppet state as a buffer zone between them, Russia, Belarus, a little bit of Ukraine, and the Baltics. Always have to look up before the Baltics. Who knows? They could attack you. So, with this, Ireland decides to conclude. This is their empire. Hopefully, y'all liked the video, and I'll see you on the next one.